Welcome to Hand Wrapping 101. I'm going to give you Welcome to Hand Wrapping 101. I'm going to give you 3 general pieces of advice for using hand wraps, and I'm going to give you 4 specific rules to follow when you're actually wrapping your hands. There's many ways to wrap your hands. There's plenty of videos out there. These are just 4 general rules to keep in mind while you wrap your hands, any technique you use. Okay, so first, let's start with the very first do, which is use hand wraps every single practice. When you're hitting the bag with smaller gloves, like these 8-ounce, these are what I used to hit the bag, 8-ounce gloves. Or if you're sparring, you definitely want to use hand wraps, right? Doesn't matter even if you're putting in a quick workout, don't just stick your hand in the glove like this without a hand wrap and then figure you're going to hit the bag. And definitely don't just stick your hand in your sparring glove and say, hey, all right, I'm ready to spar, guys, let's go. 2 reasons why. 3 reasons why. You want to protect your own hand. There's about, I think, 150 bones called metacarpals in this area of your hand, and they're very delicate. So, especially if you're going to hit the heavy bag, you do want to stabilize all these bones so you don't injure yourself. The second reason to use hand wraps, okay, when you're sparring, you want to protect your sparring partners. You want to be a courteous sparring partner so other people want to spar with you. If you just stick your hand in the glove like this and you hit somebody, they can feel your knuckles through the glove. It's not cool. That's not okay. You need to wrap your hands out of respect for your sparring partner. Third reason you want to always use hand wraps is protecting yourself, protecting your sparring partners. You're also protecting your gloves. From what? From sweat from your hands. I'm going to assume you're going to work out hard enough to start sweating. These hand wraps are your first line of protection. They absorb all the sweat from your hands and keep it from going into the inside of your glove. We can't wash gloves, right? So they just over time absorb more and more sweat. We want to reduce that amount of sweat that gets just absorbed into the glove because 1, it's unsanitary, and 2, it shortens the life of your glove if they get full of sweat every single practice. So that's three reasons why you should always use hand wraps. Now the second do is make sure you always roll them up. So we'll start with a brand new fresh pair of hand wraps here. You should completely unravel your gloves this is the only time you should completely unravel the wraps and throw them across the room. Boxing trainers love to do this. It's one of their favorite things to do. So when you get a pair of hand wraps, they're already rolled up the opposite way of how you're going to wrap your hands because they're closed with the Velcro at the end, right? So now you get to throw this across the room, but now you got to roll them back up, starting with the Velcro side. I always like to roll from Velcro to Velcro. So it only takes a few minutes, or not even. Okay, now we're ready to start wrapping. You do not want to throw this across the room and have your wrap. You do not want to throw this across the room and have your wrap all loose. You want the wrap to be rolled up. Now, exception. If your trainer decides they want to wrap your hand with the wrap all loose, that's up to them. Don't argue with them about how they're wrapping your hands. Your trainer's always right. Okay, but if you're doing it for yourself, I suggest you should always have it rolled up. Case in point, how many times have you seen a boxing trainer take a whole roll of gauze, throw it across the room in the change room, and then start wrapping their fighters' hands with loose gauze? I can guarantee you that's never happened, and there's a reason why. Well, one, it's very impractical. But the main reason you want it rolled up is to maintain the tautness as you wrap your own hand. If this is all loose, you can't really do that. All right, so let's start. We have the loop for your thumb. We're going to the outside of my hand. I'm going towards my pinky finger, right? Go around the wrist. Now, I'm going up to the knuckles. So here's the first do. Do spread your knuckles. Do spread your fingers. This is the first do. Do spread your fingers as wide as you can. If you don't, then the wrap is going to wind up being too tight across the knuckles, and that will actually wind up doing more damage than protection. Second do go a little bit past your knuckles with the wrap. You do not want to just cover your knuckles. You want to go past the knuckles. And here's why. Because as you hit, whether you're hitting the bag or you're sparring, the wrap is going to get shoved back towards your wrist. And if you start at the knuckles, it's going to go back from your knuckles. Your knuckles will be unprotected, and that's when you skin your knuckles, or it just sort of defeats the purpose of even wrapping in the first place. So make sure you spread your fingers. Third do, make sure you go from index finger to pinky finger. We always want to go from inside the fist to the outside of the fist. I'll come back to why at the end of the wrap job. Then I come down to my wrist again, around the wrist. Now we go through the fingers. This is hand wrapping 101, so I'm going to show you the easiest ways to start with the pinky and the ring finger, go through there, come down, middle, come down, index, come down. Now we're coming across again. And here's the third do. Make sure when you cross, you always cross on the top of your hand. We do not want to cross on the palm of your hand. So the X goes on top. Around the wrist, we have enough to go over again. Make an X on the top of your hand. Finally, I like to do the thumb the last, but you might want to do it first. Either way is fine. And then again, you can see the way I end. I'm going from inside to outside, from the inside of my hand towards the pinky, even as I finish. Okay? So the reason I go from inside to outside is because when you throw your fist, you're turning it this way. I always forget if that's pronate or supinate. I think it's pronate. But in any case, as I'm turning it this way, I want to turn into the wrap. So this wrap would stay tight. If I wrap my hand from outside to inside, as I turn my fist, it's going to loosen up. Now, I'm not willing to sacrifice a whole workout just to show you that before and after, but if you want to experiment with that yourself, you're welcome to. Okay, so now that we've wrapped our hands, remember, we're going always from inside to outside. Number 2, spread your fingers. Number 3, go past your knuckles. And number 4, the X is always on top of your hand, not on the palm. Notice that there's this open space here. In a sense, a good hand wrap creates this little bit of material here, so it's like a little bar for you to hang on and help you squeeze your fist tight. That's the purpose. All right, the final thing to remember about hand wraps, now that we're done with our workout, we worked out really hard, hand wraps full of sweat, gloves not as much full of sweat, but the final do is when you take them off and they're good and sweaty and all soaking wet, do remember to wash them every single time. Your sparring partners will thank you. Your gloves will thank you. And thirdly, you'll thank yourself, because that sweat in the hand wrap is just bacteria, and you don't want to reabsorb the bacteria through your own skin the next time you work out. So quick summary, do always use hand wraps no matter what type of practice you're doing, even if it's a short one, and especially if you're sparring. Do roll your hand wraps up to wrap your own hands, and do wash them. 4 things to remember when you're wrapping your hands: you want to go from inside to outside, you want to go past the knuckles, you want to spread your fingers, and the X is always on top. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and share. Tell me more about how you wrap your hands in the comments below.